And welcome into the Friday edition. Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Robby Stanley alongside Ian Safar. Joe Rexrode will be along shortly here on the program here today. Ian Safar live from our Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership where the buzz is always about great service. Ian, how are we doing? What's going on?
Good morning, Robert. How was your night at Bridgestone? How about
It was a little bit quicker than it was on Tuesday night. I actually had to do a little bit more extra work last night and stayed around later than I thought because Stamkos scored 4, and we're going to get all over that here in just a few minutes. But still much better, much quicker exit than on Tuesday night when the game started basically at 9 o'clock. So,
okay,
good stuff.
Yeah, good. I got busy doing family stuff and missed the first period. Saw they were up 2-0, double Stamkos, so that was cool. But pretty much kept my eye on the other rest of the game there. But didn't watch too much of the football though. So
no, elite uniform matchup. Elite.
Yeah, the creamsicles were out for Tampa. Kyle Pitts was, I guess, having a career day. Apparently,
I guess so.
Tampa blew it. Todd Bowles went off for the post game.
If you guys didn't see the Todd Bowles post game, oh my goodness!
Yeah,
I mean, we can't play any of it because we'd have to bleep the entire thing, and I mean almost literally the entire thing. But yeah, pretty good stuff. Todd Bowles was very upset after the loss last night to the Atlanta Falcons.
Yeah, how about Joe and Bryce? Bryce Young is Carolina Panthers right there.
I know it. They're right there with a chance to sneak back in there, win that division, and maybe get into the playoffs. So we'll see what happens on that front. We do have a lot to get to on the program today. Alex Doherty from the Tennessean will be with us at 7:30. We'll get into a magical night for Steven Stamkos and the Preds for him last night. Teron Davenport will be with us at 8 o'clock. We'll get his thoughts on the Titans as they go for win number 2 in a row, taking on the San Francisco 49ers this weekend. They've not had back-to-back wins since 2022. So we'll see if the Titans can accomplish that. But Joe Rexrode, first off, welcome into the program. Secondly, we begin on the Nashville Predators. Steven Stamkos, 4 goals last night. A magical performance for a legendary player. He is now 6 goals away from 600 in his NHL career. He will be the 22nd player in the history of the league to accomplish that number when that time comes. But 4 goals last night for Stamkos. It was the second time in his career that he's reached the 4-goal mark. He had 2 in the first. He had 2 in the second. I was wondering if, the double hat trick was going to be on the table for Stamkos last night. But I guess he just has to settle for 4. Joe, pretty magical stuff from number 91 for the Predators last night.
Yeah, I mean, break up the Preds, break up Steven Stamkos. Be good for him because it wasn't that long ago. He did not seem to be having a good time, with this season, with this team, with his own performance. And all of a sudden, I mean, we talked to Andrew Brunette yesterday. He sounds like the happiest guy in the world. The Preds are just absolutely unstoppable. Luke Evangelista, has 23 points now. I mean, everything is working. And Stamkos, people have been saying it though. You've been saying it. It's like he's still he's still Steven Stamkos. Get him opportunities, and he'll bury some opportunities. And all of a sudden, they've figured out ways to do that.
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty cool. And look, not the entire story, so I don't want to go crazy here. Not the entire story of the season. But, they showed this on the FanDuel broadcast last night. Sometimes this is the way it goes in hockey, right? Sometimes, Joe, the expected goals that you're going to generate and the actual goals that go on the board, which are the only thing that matters, don't quite add up. Yep. And there was a stretch earlier in the year where the Predators probably deserved a little bit better of a fate than they were getting. And no one wants to hear that. And I understand that when it's going on at the time. But it is overcorrecting pretty dramatically right now, right? The goals are going in, the bounces are going their way, as they say. Hey, look, Stamkos last night, I mean, he's doing all the right things. And O'Reilly talked about that after the game. He's getting to the front of the net. He's getting to the areas where you score goals. He had a couple of fortunate bounces last night. Like his third goal where he got the hat trick was basically like a passing attempt that went in off Justin Falk, right? And the fourth goal, Yossi shot it. Matthew Wood redirected it, and it went right on the tape of Stamkos on the backhand. So those are two pretty fortunate bounces that he got last night. But you know what, Joe? You start to get those fortunate bounces when you're playing really well. I mean, the dude had 9 shots on goal last night. He's been playing really well the last few weeks here. And, we talked about the switch to his line with O'Reilly and Evangelista. And last night, that wasn't even really part of it because they're going 11 forwards, 7 defensemen. And he got out there a couple times with like Fedor Svechkov and Matt Wood. And all of a sudden they started scoring. And Brunette was like, well, yeah, just go play with them. Go play with Svechkov and Wood. So it was pretty cool. And look, I said this last night on Twitter. I talked to Roman Yossi a little bit about this after the game. Everybody understands that the win-loss record has not gone according to plan so far since Steven Stamkos has come in. But last night, like if you're a Predators fan, particularly if you're a Predators fan that's been around for a while and has, seen the ups and downs of the franchise, and you've seen, not very many Hall of Fame level players come through here. Last night's pretty cool, man. Like a guy that is undoubtedly going to be in the Hall of Fame. He's won 2 Stanley Cups. I don't know how many goals he's going to end up with when his career's all said and done, but he's probably going to be a guy that's going to be in the top 20 in the history of the National Hockey League in goal scoring. To see him have a night like that in your jersey, I think is pretty cool.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I mean, that's Steven Stamkos, and it's it's kind of like all we're talking about is winning in this town here lately. So
a lot of winning going on.
Whatever it may mean, I know that there's probably some apprehension from Preds fans on like, okay, let's not like get too caught up in, a little surge or whatever. But I mean, gosh, just like with the Titans, it's like, let the guys have a little enjoyment out of this too. Again, like Stamkos, I mean, just some of the, a couple of the pressers of the interviews that you've had with him this year, you're just like, geez, man, this guy's down bad. So hopefully he's feeling good and feeling like himself again. He obviously looks like himself out there.
Well, look, again, I don't want to go too crazy here because what I'm about to say, you can immediately then look around and say, well, Robby, that's great. You can also look back the other way in the standings and realize that they're only 3 points from the bottom of the NHL. So again, I recognize that, and I'm not going crazy here. But I will say, like, that's part of the season being where we're at right now in December, the condensed schedule, and nobody other than Colorado and Dallas have really been able to run away with anything. Like Colorado and Dallas are just freakish with what they're doing. But the Predators, after the win last night, are 5 points out of a playoff spot. They're 5 points out of the last wild card spot in the Western Conference. Now, again, they're 3 points out of the basement of the NHL. So take that for however you want to take it. But they've won 6 out of their last 8. We talked about it yesterday. They're playing better. Like they're playing better hockey than they've played throughout the course of the season. So, I'm not going to sit here and act like I believe that the Predators are about to go on some playoff push here or anything, but there's no doubt about it that they have found something over the last couple of weeks, and they're playing a lot better. Now, they're getting ready to have to go play at Colorado tomorrow, and I understand they just beat Colorado earlier this week. I watched Colorado play a little bit last night after the game because it was on the TV in front of me, and they just absolutely smoked Florida 6-2. I mean, that team at home is a much different thing. So they very well, Joe, could go out there tomorrow and just get absolutely killed by Colorado because everybody is when they go on the road there. But they found something here, and they're playing pretty well.
Yeah, and look, I think Andrew Brunette deserves credit. I mean, it was almost a foregone conclusion he was going to be gone, and they've stuck it out. He stuck it out. they've found some stuff. They've made some adjustments that have worked. And everybody's being a professional and pushing forward. And I mean, if you're in that room, if you're in that room, I mean, you tweeted vibes are high, and I said, Robby invoked the word vibes.
I did.
So, you got to be feeling good and like, hey, screw all this talk of all the stuff, the firing and the selling off and the rebuild and all that stuff. Let's go win hockey games. Whatever everybody else thinks we are, be darned. So we'll see if they can keep it going. I mean,
well, again,
it's an 82-game season, man. There's going to be ups and downs.
Long season, ups and downs. But I do hope that, when the time comes this year, and hopefully he's still in a Predators uniform by the time he does it. And then, after that, we'll see what happens. But 600 goals for Stamkos is going to happen here at some point. I mean, we're getting pretty close to a couple of, big milestones in different ways. Like Roman Josi closing in on 1,000 games. He's at 980. So he's got 20 more games left till he hits that mark. But, even more than the 1,000 game mark, 600 goals is coming up for Stamkos. And you're talking about, among the thousands and thousands of players that have played in the National Hockey League over the years, he's going to be the 22nd guy to reach that number. Like, I just hope you can kind of appreciate that. Like, it's pretty crazy the amount of goals he scored, and that 600 number is pretty darn special in this league.
Yeah, that's some serious perspective right there. That is absolutely big time. No doubt.
615-737-1025 is our phone number. Alex Doherty will be with us later in the show. We will get back into the Predators with him, but a magical night for Steven Stamkos last night, and the Predators win 7-2 against the St. Louis Blues. We will switch gears, get into some college football coming up next. After a pretty special week this week from a program we've talked about, which we will get into, by the way, a little bit later in the show. Who is the most hated college football program out there? It's a very fascinating question that Rexrode's thrown out there. I want to get your thoughts. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. It's bowl season in the Game Nashville Sports Network, your home for college football bowl games and the college football playoff presented by Parman Tractor and Equipment. Tomorrow, catch the Celebration Bowl on 102.5 The Game as SC State takes on Prairie View at 11 a.m. For a list of games carried on the Game Nashville Sports Network, visit thegamenashville.com/bowl games. You'll get a full scouting report coming up on Monday from Prairie View and what they do from Rexrode. I'll be watching the Titans game. I'll be watching Phillip Rivers play against the Seattle Seahawks. And Joe's going to be watching and spending time on Prairie View this weekend. So looking forward to that coming up on Monday.
Hey, man, all football is good football.
That's true. Except in some cases, the Tennessee Titans. But we'll see if they can avoid that this week.
Yeah, well, I mean, we get 17 of those too. So
that's true.
You're going to savor them, man. Just
that
like Kaharski said.
So it's been a heck of a week for Notre Dame, Joe, and we're going to get into something else on the Notre Dame front a little bit later in the show, which I have wondered if this was going to happen, and it's going to be very, very interesting to monitor moving forward. We'll get into that a little bit later in the program. But look, yeah, we all know this. Like Notre Dame is one of those teams where if you're a Notre Dame fan, and there are a whole lot of them, very passionate about your program. And if you're not a Notre Dame fan, Notre Dame is probably on the list of teams that you really don't like and do not want to see good things happen for. Frankly, like for me, Ohio State, one of those teams, like Ohio State on the list of, boy, do they have a lot of fans. And boy, if you're not one of those fans, probably not overly fond of the Ohio State football program. So, Joe, you've thrown this idea out there. Who's the most hated college football program right now, and why?
Obviously, that it's going to always be tied to success, right? So, like for example, I would argue that, I guess it was quite a while ago now, but to me, it doesn't seem that long ago. Like USC would have been one of those teams. Now, maybe not for everybody. I mean, Pete Carroll was kind of a fun, likable guy when they were on top, and you had like awesome players like Reggie Bush. But that's
young Lane Kiffin.
Yeah, there you go. But like, there's an example of a program that people probably don't even think about anymore, right? And the thing about this question is, yeah, if you're a Vanderbilt fan answering this question, you're going to answer Tennessee, but or whatever, Michigan, Ohio State, or whatever, Michigan State, Michigan, and so on and so forth. If you're an Oklahoma State fan, it's Oklahoma, But I'm saying if you can step back and just say, apart from your own personal, whatever the personal situation is, who do you just really hate? Nationally, I do think that Notre Dame has a shot, which is why I thought about this. Again, that with them, I do think Marcus Freeman also is like the most likable. I mean, think about like their coaches they've had, Charlie Weiss, Brian Kelly, Lou Holtz. I mean, they've had just to go with just being Notre Dame, and just all the people are sick of all the, fawning over Notre Dame and their own TV deal. Then you have coaches like that on top of it, to make them even less likable. But I think they have a shot at it. I think Alabama under Saban would have been a really and maybe that's still, it's still Alabama. It's not like they've completely fallen off the face of the earth. They're about to be in the playoff here this year. But then what about Georgia? Like, have they moved into a strong position with people now? I would think so.
Yeah, I mean, I would think that at least they're definitely getting there if they're not there already. I mean, Saban's Alabama teams are a good one. And to your point on all this, I mean, I think winning is tied to this. I mean, how many, I'm sure that if Notre Dame went 6-6 for 12 years in a row, that there'd still be a lot of people that hated Notre Dame, but it wouldn't be the same, right? Like, winning is a part of it. So that's, Alabama is a really good example with Saban always being in the picture for competing for a national championship. That's part of it. I do think what's a little bit different about the Notre Dame part of this, which is why I think they've got a good shot to be the team here. When you're an independent and you do things your own way and you got your own TV deal, and I don't know, the perception sometimes I think with them is they think they're better than everybody else. And I don't think that helps in this discussion.
Yes, no, for sure. Yeah, there's that. Yeah, and like you bring that up, and it's like Michigan. Obviously, you have as we talked about, they've got this scandal after scandal. Like they're as scandalous as anybody, and then there's also I don't know how much pushing there is still of like we're different. I don't know how many people really bought that anyway, but I mean certainly they would have to be on this. I'll tell you, growing up, two programs that to me I rooted against every single week, no questions asked. Florida with Steve Spurrier. I mean, I hated them.
Yeah.
Just no reason, no affiliation. I rooted for Tennessee against them. I rooted for Bobby Bowden and Florida State against them. And then Miami, the U.
Yeah, that's good.
They were very polarizing. So it was either like you loved them or you hated them. I mean, I hated both those teams. And for whatever reason, I liked Florida State, which probably was just like a Bobby Bowden thing. Now, I don't know if everybody felt that way. Some people didn't like Florida State either, but I like Florida for sure, I think. And so it's coach personality, if you got a guy, which now I love the guy, that's what's funny. It's like, man, that guy was right. That guy was amazing, hilarious. Let's go through all his little UT Citrus Bowl jokes, or Auburn, the library and the coloring books got burned down or whatever he said, but at the time you didn't like him. I don't know. Is there anybody like that now? I don't think we have the same personalities.
I mean, somebody's already voted for Lane Kiffin's LSU. That one's got a chance.
Yeah, for sure. No, I mean that will be, and Brian Kelly's LSU was strong, right? And they steal away from Notre Dame, and here comes the championships, and oh my God, what is he doing in that video? Is that like some disco move he learned in 1978? And all that stuff, and then the family, but Lane could, especially if they win big.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. No, when they got a chance to be the Kings.
When Notre Dame had Brian Kelly, that was just a double whammy.
That's double whammy. There's no doubt.
That made it even worse. Like you're like, okay, I don't really dislike Notre Dame, but if you have Brian Kelly in there, it is a double. No, thank you.
See, it's interesting on the Notre Dame thing because I do think it's regional, like in the Midwest. So you mentioned that, when they're good, of course, it's different. But the Bob Davie, Ty Willingham, Charlie Weiss, they went through a long stretch after Lou Holtz of really not being good, but they still would be like preseason top 10. They still would have top 10 classes. And so at least, where I was in the Midwest, I think the hatred still was very strong for them just because, and it was kind of the same thing with Michigan and them. They were always overhyped and then they were not good. There was always the September Heisman. Somebody from one of those schools is going to win the Heisman. Oh my God, Brady Quinn's amazing, and then they end up going 8-4, 7-5, So, but of course you're more hateable when you win way more than that.
Let's head to our phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Welcome in Chad in Hendersonville to the program. Chad, good morning. Thank you for calling in.
Hey, I appreciate this conversation. I try to teach my kids not to use the word hate because, politicians these days, they sell hate. Country music stars sometimes can sell hate. And, of course, we wake up in the morning. A lot of us hate our jobs. So it's easy to just, hate this, I hate everything. I think Alan Jackson had a song about it. But I will use the word dislike. And I think if you're in the northern side of the universe here, I think Michigan comes up just because of cheating. To me, it's not winning or losing the reason that you dislike a team. It's just it's other factors. If you win and you do it the right way and you're hating on them, then that says more about you. But at the end of the day, you look at the Michigan with some of the cheating stuff, that's a turnoff. In the South, I think it's Georgia just because of the likability or the lack of likability of Kirby Smart. And, if you're doing things the right way, I mean, I wasn't ever big, I didn't grow up in Alabama and they would probably be a rival for what I liked, but I respected the way that Saban went around his business and I couldn't dislike or use your word on that. But anyways, just the way you go about your business and the way that you approach yourself to me is more about likability. Your thoughts?
Thank you, Chad. Appreciate it. I mean, Kirby's visor, I think that elevates it too. When you got that visor on and that, his little hair is floating over the top of it, that adds to it.
No doubt. Well, same thing with Lane, right? I mean,
Yeah.
Spurrier, the visor can make someone more hateable. You know, Chad making me feel bad
Mike
about
McCoy.
using the word hate, but I mean, you know, I don't know. I'm having to do the haters guide to the playoff now, so it hates on my brain. But yeah, like, you know, hate with a grain of salt.
Yeah, I mean,
Not like
respectful
hatred.
hate.
Yeah, like hate and hatred. Those are two different words, right?
They are. Well, yes, they are.
Thank you.
We have established that on the program today. Let's quickly welcome in Doug to the program. Doug, good morning. Thank you for calling in.
Hey guys, hey, this is a little off topic, but the Falcons did the same thing last night that the Browns did. They're down 14, they score a touchdown, and they go for 2 instead of kicking the extra point, and then they miss it, and then they have to go for 2. And so when did this strategy start?
It's a great question, Doug. Thank you for the call. Joe, I feel like it's a very recent thing. Like over the last 5 years, people have started to do that more.
Yeah, I'd say so. I was going to say maybe 5 to 7. Probably not, though. It's probably more like the last 5 years,
I
right?
think it's like, yeah, it's pretty recent.
Yeah, and again, it's just like, you know, again, if you do the math on probabilities of how often you will make a 2, then basically the theory is you're going to get one of them. So go ahead and do it, and then if you get the first one, like you're down 2 touchdowns, you get the first one. The next touchdown, you can just kick the extra point to win instead of tie.
Right.
Personally, I'm never doing this as a coach. Like, I'm just going. I mean, unless I have a crappy kicker, right?
Right.
I'm just not doing it. I'm just going to take what I call free point. I do think in college and NFL it's a little different because in college football it's still it's still 2 yards away, and so you just pop the ball up in the air and you get the free point. In NFL, you do have to make a short field goal, but it's a little more strange. You see obviously way more missed extra points in the NFL, right, than we used to see. So that is also part of it. But yeah, it's not my favorite.
615-737-1025, our phone number. A lot of your thoughts on the most hated college football teams in the United States of America. We will get back into that. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Taking your thoughts. Rexrode's throwing it out there. The most hated college football teams or programs in America. Who qualifies right now? And again, like, don't be saying, well, I'm a Tennessee fan, so it's got to be Alabama, or I'm a Vanderbilt fan, it's got to be Tennessee. Like, just in general, the most hated college football programs in America right now. Now, Joe, we do have one vote for Tennessee, and I feel like the explanation given here is a valid one, and I want to get your thoughts. One texter says, I feel like Tennessee's got to be on this list of most hated, mostly because of how loud and obnoxious their fan base can be. Joe, Vol Twitter, maybe elevating Tennessee up the list a little bit.
Well, I think, I'm glad that was brought up, because I think Tennessee certainly has potential. We've talked about this. Like, if Tennessee gets like good, then
it could be bad.
Yes, and it is interesting too, because before social media, how did people have perceptions of fan bases? I mean, basically, if you went to a game there, if you were at a bowl site with that fan base or something, or
AOL chat,
go to their message boards, and they're really mean on their message boards. I don't know, but the phenomenon of social media, I think, has sort of developed some reputations for fan bases.
I think they were all annoying. You just had to live there.
Well, it could be that. There is something to that.
Yeah. Listen, I mean, in the last day, it's totally my fault, but like, I absolutely hate Michigan State fans right now. They make me sick and want to vomit. And I'm just in this like total war with Michigan State fans, just like the old days, when I used to work at the Detroit Free Press, and they were convinced that like it's all a conspiracy against Michigan State and for Michigan. It's the blue wall. And it's like, I mean, these people, man, you want to get it. And Michigan fans too. I hate them too. I hate Michigan State fans, and I hate Michigan fans. I hate you all. Okay. I equally hate you all. Okay. I want you to know. But no, the social media aspect of this can really feed perception. And I think the Tennessee fan base, it always felt to me, Robby, like just all those years of suffering and just and being, Butch is going to be the guy. Oh, Pruitt, and Fulmer's back. Whatever. Like you get teased by all these things, and it's like this like anger, But if they got good, yeah, man, the Vol Twitter would, I think would rise to the top of a lot of people's lists around this country.
I'll throw one at you that I think some people maybe didn't have that strong of opinion on, but if you really didn't like this coach, I think there was a stretch not too long ago where they were on the list. People have strong opinions about Dabo, right? Like Dabo, I think, is generally a nice guy, but he says some really goofy stuff sometimes. They did a whole lot of winning, and there was a whole lot of, bring your guts in the post-game interviews on all these ESPN games and college football playoff games after the game. I did get I've gotten a couple of personal texts about, Dabo and Clemson were definitely on that list at one point. Maybe not now, but
you could probably add me to that group at some point.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, and the thing about it is too, I almost feel like with Dabo, he's somewhat at times maybe even more insufferable in the bad times here.
I know.
I mean, like some of his pressers now are like what? But yeah, obviously when you're winning and you're doing that goofy stuff. Well, listen, if South Carolina, I know that you have an unhealthy dislike for him.
You got to worry about that.
What if South Carolina actually would have lived up to what they were supposed to be this year? I think a lot of people around the country would have been like, "Who is this? What is this TikTok? Oh my God!" Like, how insufferable would Shane Beamer have been if they actually would have been what they were supposed to be? Now, losing Shane Beamer, also, it's like. Just again, like a child who just got grounded and is talking back to his parents.
No, it's what he is. Winning, losing, all of it. That's just what he is at that point. I'm glad the rest of the country's finally catching on. I've been preaching this for years.
But again, they could way more people could have caught on.
That's
this
true.
Year, and that's the thing. You kind of stay under the radar. But that's the thing about Tennessee too is like I just think and I understand, like, there's probably gonna be a Vanderbilt fan who immediately says, "No, you're wrong. I hate him." But how unlikable really can Josh Heupel be? You know?
Can I tell you the all-time ones for me? Just in terms, and I'm, even removing the Tennessee fandom part of it, because it would be one thing if this guy was just at Florida the whole time, but he did move on to Ohio State. It was pretty easy to hate Urban Meyer's teams, no matter where he was, right? Like I know he had Tebow as his quarterback in Florida, and Tebow's a swell guy, but it was pretty easy to hate Urban Meyer's teams, both in Florida and Ohio State. Those are among the top of my all-time list.
Yeah, no question. Yeah, so sometimes you just have a coach who that's how you feel about him, and I agree. Now, I don't think that, maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think people felt like that way about him at Utah necessarily.
No,
he was still kind of the up and coming coach. I mean, I remember when he was at Bowling Green, and Bowling Green got game day, and it was like the biggest thing. My brother-in-law, all his Bowling Green buddies rented a bar like it was the biggest thing ever, and Urban Meyer was the greatest man on earth,
Oh yeah.
But yeah, as soon as someone like that gets to the advantage places like Florida and Ohio State, then it gets very easy to hate him. On the flip side, again, I could be off on this, and I understand that eventually, like, there was a scandal, which is a hilarious scandal now to think about. I mean, but like, I thought that Jim Tressel made Ohio State about as likable as you could be as Ohio State. Maybe some people disagree with me on that. I understand maybe Michigan fans, other Big Ten fans.
Good turtlenecks. Disagree.
Well, the sweater vest, man.
Yeah.
Very nice sweater vest. Yeah. I just but then again, I don't know. I mean, when you're Ohio State, you're winning that much, and you got this professorial dude on the sideline, maybe people just are going to automatically hate that too. But like, you go from him to Urban Meyer, I know within the program it was like going from, well, basically someone that everybody liked to someone that everybody disliked.
Yes.
For whatever that's worth.
Let's head back to our phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Welcome in Thomas to the program. Thomas, good morning. Thank you for calling in.
Yes, sir. Thanks for having me. I do have to go ahead and agree with what you said earlier. It is definitely Ohio State. And the reason why is because Ohio State, even when they're bad, they are still good. And what I mean by that is their conference, if you go back several years, even when their conference was total crap, they still looked really good, even when they weren't that great. And what that means is back, if you remember, when they went to back-to-back national championships, and then what happened? They got smoked by Florida and LSU. And, they weren't really tested in their conference because, Michigan was down really bad back then. Penn State was down. If those teams aren't good around them, and they've had a lot of inconsistencies the last couple of decades, then you don't really know what to get from Ohio State. And they always bring in great talent. And I have to also say, too, to all the Miami Hurricane fans out there, 2001, that was not pass interference. I'll hang up and listen, guys.
Thank you, Thomas. That is a nice reference there.
Good reference. I disagree totally. It was just the ref took 10 minutes to get the flag out of his belt. So it was like, oh, my God. But it was the right call. But I totally agree. I mean, Ohio State, we've talked about Ohio State before. They are the only recession-proof program in the country, right? Like,
what the numbers would say.
In my lifetime, they have a down year or two. I remember they had, like, between Earl Bruce and John Cooper, they had like a bad year, and then they had like a down at the end of Cooper into Tressel, a bad year and like a so-so year. But like, that's it. All these other Bama, I mean, go through them. USC, obviously Tennessee, Michigan, Notre Dame. Like, everyone has extended downturns, except Ohio State. They just have found a way to just never fall into that. And even now, we're sitting here. It looked like not too long ago, like, okay, well, they obviously have a substandard coach. The guy is afraid of Michigan. He cowers every time he sees the color maize. And, they're going to have to move on from this. And now here we go. Defending national champ just crushed Michigan and has all this confidence and talking trash to Lou Holtz. And so they just keep rolling on like a machine.
615-737-1025, our phone number, 615-737-1025. Well, we'll get into more of your thoughts on the most hated college football programs. Plus, speaking of one of those candidates, an issue that could potentially be around the corner for Notre Dame that is very interesting. We will get into that. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Jason Big Joe broadcasting live at the all-new Circus Sportsbook Kentucky in the Mint Gaming Hall this Monday, prior to the Monday Night Football game. It's the Dolphins and the Steelers in a big one in the AFC on Monday Night Football. Taking your thoughts, 615-737-1025 is our phone number. So, Joe, it's been an eventful week for Notre Dame. As we know, we've talked a lot about it. And friend of the program, Dan Wolkin, put this out there yesterday from Yahoo Sports. after learning of Notre Dame's memorandum of understanding that grants the Irish preferential playoff access starting next year, and we've talked about that, athletic directors in other leagues are threatening to freeze Notre Dame out of future schedules, per Dan Wolken. So, Joe, I've wondered about this, and we've talked about, the idea of, if Notre Dame finished in the top 12 next year, regardless of what kind of the breakdown looks like around them, they're getting in the college football playoff. And some people have said, why? Like, why in the world would they be able to get that in the memorandum of understanding? They don't have a conference, as we know, even though they're trying to yell at the ACC over the past week, but they're not in a conference. We know that. So I have thought about this before. Like, I mean, I guess if you're the SEC and if you're one of these teams or the ACC or the Big Ten, like, there is a way you could solve some of this, and that is, hey, we're just not going to schedule them. We're not going to schedule Notre Dame at all, and they're not going to find a way to play any meaningful games out there, Joe. So what do you make of that idea that Wolken threw out there of apparently it's being discussed from ADs around the country that they could just freeze Notre Dame out of their future schedules?
Yeah, well, the ACC has been handy for Notre Dame, right? Like, obviously they would not join it as a full member. The ACC gladly would have taken them, but they've had a scheduling agreement, so that gives them several games a year, and they kind of have rotated that. They've also, I know, wanted it to be more like Clemson. They wanted more of the better games, and they've had some haggling about that. But of course, now you have this, you have this whole situation with the ACC and Notre Dame. So there's that. Notre Dame, like, really strong words. Pete Bavacqua, a lot of strong words on a lot of things.
Yep.
After they were left out. And it is interesting to think about this. They have some things that are going to be in place, like the service academies are going to happen. Now, USC even, that is one of their longstanding rivalries that they have preserved through everything. They've preserved Stanford too, but even that, the USC series, the USC has talked about separate from this freezing out conversation, but just the rivalry. Next year, Michigan State and Notre Dame play again for the first time in a long time. They were longtime rivals, but Notre Dame walked away from that. They walked away from Michigan. Again, Michigan State fans hate you all. No, just kidding. I mean, that's family members of mine too. So just some of you online. But
I feel like this has been a little bit of a therapy session for you today.
God, it's just amazing. Why do I get into Twitter fights? I've gone so long without getting into Twitter fights with people. But both of those programs wanted to keep it going with Notre Dame, and Notre Dame's like, nah, we're good. We're going to go to Georgia. We're going to do this ACC thing. So now so those are two examples of programs that had that never happened. I think that they would value it and say, no, this is tradition. Like, this is our fans care about this. We're going to keep it. But now it's kind of like, I mean, I know, again, they're playing next year, but the way Notre Dame has gone about its business has kind of alienated a lot of people, on top of just the whole independence thing. And now this special treatment that they're going to get that they don't deserve. So I put more stock into this threat than, for example, this idea that everybody in the SEC is going to stop playing good games. I don't buy that, because I don't think TV and Sankey will ultimately let it happen. And also, I think smart coaches in the SEC are going to understand that, like, if the SEC doesn't do anything against non-league schools, like, you can sit there and scream at yourselves how awesome you are, but it's not going to help you.
Well, remember that they're going to a 9-game schedule in the SEC, which, by the way, that came out last night. And part of that agreement is, like, you got to play a Power 4 non-league team too. So, I mean, not all those games are going to be good. Like, there are going to be plenty of,
you could go weak
non-league
with that.
games that go very weak.
Yeah.
But I think that will, just having that in there will, by default, create some pretty good matchups.
Everybody needs to play 10. Everybody needs to play 10 Power 4 schools on your schedule, and then you have 2 other games. And that's as close as we're going to get to fair scheduling it, like across college football. And again, for the millionth time, you can do all that, and 2 teams in the same league one could have a top 5 schedule strength, and one could have a bottom 150 schedule strength. Like, that's totally possible.
By the way,
stupid expansion.
Ole Miss and LSU I believe September 19th next year.
Yes, it is.
So keep an eye on that one.
The mustard will be bought up in all through the state of Mississippi. Maybe some golf balls too.
Yep. LSU at the they're at the end of the year for Tennessee. So Tennessee at the end of the season, I think, goes on a stretch of like A&M, LSU, Vanderbilt to close out the year. So that'll be interesting.
Yeah, they've got a very challenging schedule. The Vols do. Great home schedule. If you've got tickets for Neyland Stadium next year, got Texas coming in September. It's gonna be fun.
It is
the UT Junior, which is what some Vandy fans call Tennessee UT Junior, but it's actually Texas.
It's a university before Texas was a state. Let's always keep that in mind.
Yeah, it's pretty simple.
Always keep that in mind. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. 615-737-1025. By the way, they I guess they put together this graphic last night. Somebody did, where they released the 2026 SEC schedule like all at once, and trying to like sift through that with 9 games now a part of it was pretty overwhelming. Like I was trying to figure it out. By the way, we mentioned Tennessee's close of the year. This is how Vanderbilt closes the year next year. Home against Alabama, on the road at Florida, home against Tennessee. Those are the last 3 games next year. So, good stuff. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. The Tennessee Titans in the news yesterday on the head coaching front. People started running with it, and I actually read it, and I was like, okay, what does this really mean? We will get into that coming up next. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Hour number 2, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Robby Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Ian Safar here with you on this Friday morning, taking your thoughts at 615-737-1025. We're live from our Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership, where the buzz is always about great service. We'll have Alex Doherty from the Tennessean coming up at 7:30. Magical night for Steven Stamkos last night. He scores 4 goals. We'll get into that with Alex a little bit later in the show. TD with us at 8 o'clock for his weekly visit, talking all things Tennessee Titans. Let's go to our phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHunted.com. Welcome in Tim to the program. Tim, good morning. Thank you for calling in.
Hey guys, enjoy the show. This deal
Thanks,
with
sir.
Notre Dame getting this memorandum of understanding, I've got a solution for the whole thing. We just pick out 12 teams, Alabama, Georgia, Ohio State, Michigan, and we give them all the same thing. And if they're on the top 12, then that's what we do. We don't need no committee or anything then. And then if they're not, then we just take the 8 of them. We just do them 8, and that's all we do. We just cut everybody else out. That's what Notre Dame's wanting.
Well, there is something to that. I mean, look, this goes, thank you for the call, Tim. This goes back to the, the automatic bids conversation too, of like this year is a perfect example of why the Big Ten is pushing for the automatic bids, because they don't have teams that are worthy of the playoff this year. They got Indiana, Ohio State, and Oregon, and that's it. And that's why they want these automatic bids, because they want as many as possible. And I think this year is also a good reminder of why I think the SEC made the right decision to say, yeah screw you.
Exactly.
We can get a lot of teams in the playoffs.
Right. They have a lot more quality programs. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, obviously the Big Ten thought that Penn State was going to be great this year, right?
Yeah.
And maybe higher hopes for USC, higher hopes for, I don't know, I guess Nebraska maybe. Good thing. Yeah, there you go. Good thing for the Big Ten that Indiana has become a superpower, right? My goodness,
Yeah.
what if that hadn't happened?
I know.
Michigan's not good anymore. They had their quick uprising, and now I have no idea what the heck's going to happen with them here.
No.
I mean, I know Wolverines fans think they're going to get Kalen DeBoer. We'll see. But yeah, exactly. That's exactly right. And again, go beyond that. Like the ACC this year, there's like one team that we'd want to see playing this sucker. So
Yeah.
I don't even want them to get 2 autos. No, they don't. They got one team that we want to see, and luckily it worked out that they got in. But the whole auto bids thing is just absolutely asinine. But yeah, look, the Notre Dame part of this is going to be very interesting moving forward. The thing to remember is, though, even with that special treatment that they're getting, that it's in the deal that if in the top 12 they have to be in. Yeah, this year teams 10 through like 15 were obviously
Pretty close.
all like Vanderbilt was one of many teams that feels rightfully wronged, and Notre Dame could easily be 13th in a situation too. So don't forget that. This is why, again, as much as people complain about them, and I get it, you still have to have a committee. I'm sorry, you got to have a committee. Go committee, team committee.
So, Joe, some comments making the rounds yesterday as it relates to the Titans and their head coaching vacancy. Connor Orr of Sports Illustrated has put together this big, long list of going through potential head coaching candidates and what that could look like. And basically, he does this every year, the top head coaching candidates that he feels like teams are going to consider in 2026. So, I mean, there's a lot of people on this thing. It's a long, extensive list. But Mike McCarthy is on here, obviously. And this is what Connor Orr put in his piece at SI.com. I'll just read it to you. Quote, McCarthy is viewed by some as an early frontrunner for the Titans vacancy, given his experience at the quarterback position and the Titans needing to maximize Cam Ward. Though there are some conflicting opinions emerging that Tennessee may value a younger voice in the building. That's all he said. So, Joe, I saw a bunch of headlines yesterday around the league of like, McCarthy is the front runner for the Titans job. And so I'm like, okay, let me go back and read this again. Okay, this is all he says. McCarthy is viewed by some as an early front runner for the Titans vacancy. What does that mean? Who are the some?
Yeah, that's a great case of people taking something and running with it that they shouldn't. Connor Orr writes some good stuff for sure. I would not, based on just his job title, his job duties. I don't think he's like a Breer or a Charles who's like constantly talking to GMs and coaches and stuff. And again, and I'm not like diminishing him. I just don't think that's really his job. So, and the way he wrote that was not like he's reporting something. Again,
Right.
if you're viewing viewed by other, that just means maybe some other GM was like, I bet you they're going to hire McCarthy. As opposed to if you had information from inside the Titans organization that told you that, you would not have written it that way. And so so tell me what sites are saying,
some of it's these aggregating, these aggregation sites that just run around and take headlines and put them everywhere. But it's all over social media too, of like, oh, Mike McCarthy is the favorite for the Titans job. And it's like, I mean, can we read? All he's viewed by some. Right, let's chill on the McCarthy front.
This is how we're all going to get nuked into oblivion. I know that this is just sports and like a coaching hire, but like this is how we're all going to die, because that's not what he's saying. Some people view this, and again, the McCarthy discussion has been there from the start, right?
Yeah,
the obvious connection to Brinker and all that stuff, and then what was the second part he said? Again?
Well, there are conflicting opinions emerging that Tennessee may value a younger voice in the building.
So again, that also, the way it's written is not him getting something from the Titans. Like when like Graziano and
Fowler,
when they do their thing, obviously we have Diana at the Athletic and other, sometimes if Sando too, and like sometimes you can tell it's like there's some stuff coming from inside buildings and stuff. And again, a lot of times it's still kind of vague because they're not going to just come out and tell you what they're going to do, but you get some indications. This, to me, it feels very secondhand, which is like not just a grain of salt, but just really just keep it at arm's length.
Well, look, McCarthy may end up getting the job. I have no idea. One thing we've talked about with him is, he doesn't have a job at the moment, so the Titans could talk to him at any point. They may have been talking to Mike McCarthy for the last 2 months, for all I know. I have no idea. But I saw some people running with this yesterday as if this is like, oh, well, we got to talk about it. Like Mike McCarthy's the favorite for the Titans job. I'm like, this is an absolute nothing burger to me. Absolutely nothing is coming from this from me.
It's also the problem of just having this linger for so long.
Yes.
It's just like everybody's looking for a little nugget of information or anything to advance the story. And it's just not, to me, there's probably not going to be anything concrete or much concrete till we get to the end of the season. And then you get into which of these potential targets, like is Robert Saleh, like are the Niners in the playoffs or not? Right. And you have all that stuff too. This is a problem with everybody was asking for Brian Callahan to be fired, but now you've had to sit there for months with no information and just scrounge for anything to give you an indication what the Titans are going to do. They've done their due diligence on every single coach in North America, at every level of football, and we have no idea what they're going to do.
No, but that is the thing, though. Like, we're getting closer to finding out. Like, we're this time of month from now, we're going to be getting in there and seeing, what this looks like. So, look, we've had a lot of differing opinions on McCarthy. Like, every time we bring up McCarthy, the text line, there's some people that are like, yeah, like, why would you not hire Mike McCarthy? He's won everywhere he's been. He's won a Super Bowl. Like, he did a pretty decent job in Dallas, other than, the playoffs, which has been not just the McCarthy thing in Dallas. It's been a Dallas Cowboys thing for the last 3 decades. But every time we bring him up, there's also people that are like, I think Kuharski used the phrase dinosaur, right? Like it feels like it's kind of a dinosaur, and maybe a younger person and coming in, whether it's a new coordinator or not, but somebody that has either been a head coach before or that is a little bit younger, may be the way to go. It's been relatively polarizing on the McCarthy front.
Yeah. But even like the younger comment, yes, if it's okay, so if it's relative to McCarthy, then that's a big group. But the way Connor Orr wrote it, you could take that as, more like a Joe Brady, more like a Clint Kubiak, but I don't know. Like younger than McCarthy, pretty easy to achieve, right? unless you want to, the Titans want to go try to steal Pete Carroll away from Tom Brady.
Well,
but so are they? It is interesting that Karski used that terminology. Maybe he's got an inkling.
Well, I don't know.
Going to somebody younger.
Well, there's, a tech. This is kind of the point. Like the texter here says, I don't like even the conversation, but theoretically, what are the positives that McCarthy could add to the Titans? Because all I see are negatives, washed up, washed out. He might be in a good position coach, but not a head coach.
I disagree with that a little bit.
No, look, he clearly, again, reading between the lines on what Borgonzi has said, they're clearly looking for somebody who they feel like has pretty good leadership skills. He does. Like, the one thing I'll say about McCarthy is the players, generally speaking, love him. So how important is that? I don't know. I mean, I'm sure he's also done a lot of winning over the years. So It's easier to love your coach when you're doing a lot of winning out there. But they clearly do. I think he's a good head coach. Now, in 2025, with where the Titans are right now, is he the right head coach? To me, that's a different question.
Yeah, I wouldn't disqualify him. I think he's a good coach. I think it does matter that he just seems to have a good rapport with players. I think he's good. Like, you obviously would love to get someone on the rise who you can grow with, who can become a great coach. Look, going to get Vrabel when he had 1 year as a DC, and it was like they were 30th in the league in defense. That was a little bit going on a limb, even though a lot of people had identified Vrabel as one of those. This guy's going to be a head coach. You'd love to do that, but I mean, I don't think it's just like settling for some washed up guy. As long as he is all in on doing it, right?
Right.
Yeah, you don't want. I mean, it does look a little bit. And it's probably being unfair to Pete Carroll because he's a great coach. But I do look at the Raiders and it's like, God, is Pete just kind of like, yeah, I'll just keep working? Sure. Or like, are you all in on it? And again, maybe that's unfair to him. I mean, he's got some weird ownership and front office things going on. That's for sure. But I don't know. I think McCarthy's good. Texter says, just hold off for Mike Tomlin and then go scoop him up. I'm just telling you, I don't know if it's going to happen, but if it does happen, I really, really doubt the Titans are going to be even close to the front of the line on that.
615-737-1025, our phone number. We will continue the conversation on the head coaching front for the Tennessee Titans. Alex Doherty from the Tennessean with us at 7:30. We'll get into all things Predators with him. If you're looking for a good spot to watch NFL games this Sunday, come by Twin Peaks in Madison, home of the 29-degree beer, and join 102.5 The Game for the pregame show before the Titans take on the 49ers. Pregame show brought to you by Tennessee Brew Works and Circus Sportsbook, Kentucky. This is Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Today, between noon and 3, Chase and Big Joe will have your chance to win a $100 Moments Peace Salon and Day Spa gift card and qualify to win a $1,000 Genesis Diamonds gift card as well. It's the 12 Days of Christmas on 102.5 The Game. We'll have the Rex Rant coming up later this hour at 7:45. Alex Doherty from the Tennessean will be with us at 7:30. We will get into an epic performance from Steven Stamkos last night with the Nashville Predators. Taking your thoughts on the Titans and the head coaching search. Joe, I mentioned McCarthy, pretty controversial. We got in the span of like 3 texts. McCarthy would be a great hire. Mike says, I do not want another head coach that calls offensive plays. Another says, we've had plenty of Mikes come through Tennessee that had great rapport with players, yet the ownership still makes their decision. Another says, don't hire that bum. Keep him anywhere but here. Like, okay. A lot of people have strong opinions on Mike McCarthy, apparently.
Wow. Yeah, I don't get it. I get not being over the moon with the idea or thrilled at the idea of that hire. But again, if he wants to do it, it's not like in Dallas he had the greatest team on earth, right? Did a lot of winning. Like you've said before, the postseason stuff. I mean, your Packers go in there and just absolutely destroy a Dallas team everybody thought was going to make a run. I mean, I get all that, but pretty consistently successful head coach. And yeah, Mike saying, I just don't want another head coach who calls plays. I don't think you want to limit yourself. Again, you look around the league at the best teams and tell me how many of them have head coaches who call plays. Quite a few of them. Doesn't mean it always works, but like, I don't think Brian Callahan, I don't think that was the problem with Brian Callahan. I mean, he did the whole, I guess I'll give up play calling and I'll just be the regular head coach. It didn't get any better. Like, it just
totally his decision too.
Yeah, exactly. So if you have a good coach who's good at that, who can still do enough of the other stuff, and again, I think in a lot of cases it is, you basically have a head coach of the defense. So you got to, just like a Sala would need a good OC, or a Flores would need a good OC. A play calling head coach needs a good head coach of the defense. And you kind of just say, that's your baby. That can work really well. I mean, it's worked very well in a lot of places. I mean, the Rams might win it all this year.
Yeah. It's worked well all over the league. Now, the Titans have a very recent situation where it did not work well, right? Of hiring the offensive guy, and it just didn't work. Now, I said it at the time. To me, that doesn't mean that you have to limit yourself from going that route again. Like, if the Titans get through this whole thing and they think that Clint Kubiak is the guy for the job, then go hire him. I don't care that Clint Kubiak hasn't been a head coach before. If you think he's the right guy for the job and is going to translate into a good head coach, then go do it. I just don't think – it's just what happens. When the last guy you hired, when that style doesn't work, you go most times completely the opposite way. And it kind of feels like everybody expects them to make like a Vrabel-type hire right now, which they may do, and it may end up being the right – style of hire. But I'm not closing the door on Clint Kubiak or Joe Brady or whoever. If they think that's the best candidate, go get him.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, and I hope it seems like they're casting a wide net in terms of they're not disqualifying anybody off the jump for like being this type of coach or that type of coach, which is good. That's the way you need to do it. Liam McLeod says it just sucks we have to aspire to mediocrity. Well, mediocrity would be the next step, but again, Mike, if you're talking about Mike McCarthy, he has won a Super Bowl. You can give all the credit to Aaron Rodgers if you want, but it did happen, and that is the idea, right, is to be able to win a Super Bowl. I mean, that's what everybody's goal is in this league. You're not hiring a coach to say, I think this coach could get us consistently to be 8-9, 9-8. I understand. Make your Jeff Fisher jokes right now. Go ahead. Mike McCarthy, had he been coaching the Titans the last couple of years, would probably be a sub-mediocre coach in that time period, just like Mike Vrabel was 6-18 in his last 24 with the Titans. That's well below mediocre. So these coaches are very important. Also, the Jimmies and Joes, the X's and O's, the old saying.
Well, and look, again, I understand that he had Aaron Rodgers as his quarterback for a long time. He also was, I think you have to give him some credit for the development of Aaron Rodgers, right?
Yeah.
And look, I understand at this point that's a long time ago. Like you're talking about 20 years ago. So I get that. But I mean, he's worked with Aaron Rodgers, he's worked with Dak Prescott, and those two players are not the same. But I do think Mike McCarthy knows what he's doing at the quarterback position, right? And there's demonstrated success that he's had working with quarterbacks. And, I understand that people are going to immediately bring up Brian Callahan. It's like, well, Brian Callahan was in the same meeting room a few times with Peyton Manning. And that's how he ends up getting in Matthew Stafford and Joe Burrow and all these guys. Like, to me, it's not the same. Like, Mike McCarthy as a head coach has worked with these quarterbacks, and I do place value in that.
Yeah, I think so for sure. I think, for sure, I think Dak got better there on his watch too. I think he obviously has a feel for that. And I mean, he's like you said, it was 20 years ago that Rodgers, he was the 05 draft, right? I think he was 05 draft.
That is correct.
So it's several years after that. And then obviously you get to the 10, 11, I think was the Super Bowl year, or 11, 12 maybe. Yeah. But so, okay. So that's 15 years ago. I mean, how much has obvious schemes have changed, of course. A lot of things about the game have changed. We just talked about the analytics and its influence on the game and how operationally, way more going for it. A lot of stuff has changed in the game. The mechanics and the bottom line stuff of being a quarterback, has it really changed that much in the last 20 years? I don't think so.
Well, and there, by the way, a lot of people making the argument. I've heard Tom Brady talk about this, which I know Joe will not like. But I've seen people talking about it this week. Like, is the quarterback position really progressing? Like, yeah, people are more physically gifted. People are more physically talented. And a lot of quarterbacks coming in that make big-time throws. But one of the things I've seen this week, Joe, like, what does it say about today's quarterbacking in the NFL that the Colts looked around and said, you know what, this 44-year-old guy that hadn't played football in 5 years, that's our best option to win games right now.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw that, and that's a fair point. I mean, I don't know though that, like, again, you look at their situation with injuries to 3 quarterbacks. I don't know that we're ever going to be in a situation where we have more than like 20-ish quarterbacks who anybody thinks are good at a certain time. Will we? 20 to 25? A few teams feel good about their backup. Like, is that really? I mean, I think it's an interesting point because certainly people give up on quarterbacks so quickly now, right? It's just like it's the churn is way more than it used to be. But at the same time, what do you expect? I guess if you're in the situation they're in with all the bad luck they've had at that position. I mean, like, what? Apparently, they asked for Sam Ehlinger to come, or they were looking into that. I mean, I just don't. Have we ever had a time where it's just this league is just stocked with all these awesome QB2s? I mean,
no, but I think a big part of what that what they're talking about in that is like, there's no, like, Phillip Rivers has seen every defense imaginable, right? Like, there's nothing as good as Seattle's defense is on Sunday, and they're probably going to dominate that game. There's nothing that Seattle's going to throw at Phillip Rivers that is like, oh, I've never seen that before, right? And I think, with RPOs and everything that's in college football and on some of these systems right now, I think there is a worry moving forward that these quarterbacks, just from a schematic standpoint and from things they've been exposed to, are just not as, number one, maybe not as prepared is not the right way to put it. There's not enough patience anymore for them to be able to get to the point where they can recognize all those things.
Yeah, it's and look at Heupel's offense as an example too. A lot of college coaches want to make it as simple as possible for their quarterbacks, and which I get. You want to win,
exactly.
But then some of the stuff you have to do with the NFL, you haven't done any of it.
615-737-1025 is our phone number. Alex Doherty from the Tennessean will be with us coming up next. Big night for Steven Stamkos last night. We will get into that with Alex coming up next. The Rex ran at 7:45. All that ahead. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Robby Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Ian Safar here with you on this Friday morning. Big night for a legend of the game, Steven Stamkos. 4 goals last night for the Nashville Predators, tying a team record, tying a career high. And to help us talk more about that and the local professional hockey team, we welcome in our friend Alex Doherty to the program on our phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Alex covers the Nashville Predators for the Tennessean. Alex, good morning. How we doing?
I'm doing great. I'm just glad that I could be there in person to see last night's performance from Steven Stamkos.
Absolutely. I mean, it's it was really something to behold last night.
I'm obviously, Robby knows I'm joking, because I unfortunately last night was the only game of the year that I was not able to see in person because I had a sick child to tend to. But it was certainly fun to watch. I'm just the one game that Steven Stamkos has a almost a career night. I was not there to see it in person.
Maybe you're the bad luck charm.
Well, I have gotten word that he needs to be banned from the building. So
yeah, that the process is already in the works. That I'm no longer allowed in the building.
Zoom pressers for Alex.
That's it. That's all you get. So, I mean, let's just start there, Alex. I mean, obviously, you're talking about a big-time performance last night. They win 7-2. He scores 4 goals, ties a team record. It is hilarious to think about the team record being, okay, Philip Forsberg, Steven Stamkos have scored 4 goals in a game. That adds up. Then you have Rocco Grimaldi and Eric Nystrom. Those are the 2 other guys who have done it for the Nashville Predators. Some of those things are not like the other. But, he's closing in on 600 goals. They've won 6 out of their last 8 games. I said last night, the vibes feel high right now for the Nashville Predators. What do you think a game like that means for Stamkos, who's closing in on 600, whose tenure so far with the Predators has not gone to plan, obviously? How big a deal is last night's performance for him?
Well, it's really been building, honestly. I don't think anyone saw 4 goals in a game coming, but he has been, the last probably 10 days, over a week, and definitely about 6, 7, 8 games or so, his game has just been getting better and better. And it really coincides with the line change, putting Stamkos with O'Reilly and Evangelista. And if you look at the numbers for that combination, Stamkos, O'Reilly, Evangelista, of course, most of the season it was Forsberg with O'Reilly and Evangelista. Forsberg now on the second line, and he had a pretty fantastic goal last night too, by the way. The numbers also line up. It's not like Stamkos is just getting bounces now. The process underneath what's going on, the results they're getting are also fantastic. With those 3 on the ice this season, they've generated 24 high danger chances at even strength, and they've only allowed 5. So they're just spending all the time in the opposing zone. They are just kind of dominating the puck. They're dangerous. They're making plays everywhere. Of course, O'Reilly is just he nothing's really changed about his game. He's just doing what he always does. But it's creating more space for Steven Stamkos. And when I talked to him a little while ago, I put a story about this. He mentioned that a big part of his career, he's been finding the quiet ice. That's kind of how he phrased it, which I thought was very interesting. And I think that is what he's needed since he got to Nashville. Is he just needs someone he needs to sit in an area where the defenders are not, and be able to have someone give him the puck so he can use his shot. And finally, that's happening. And O'Reilly and Evangelista are the ones that are making it happen. And then, it's not just that. The rest of the team is playing well too, but that line has been driving all this success right now.
So I know this is very easy Monday morning quarterbacking, which I love to do. I specialize in it, but it's like, why would you? In my mind, it's like, why would you ever have Stamkos away from O'Reilly? So that's one thing, and then also I do want to ask you, Alex, how much of this specifically are you crediting with Evangelista taking a step here?
Well, that's actually great. I'll talk about the second one first, because Evangelista, if you look at the numbers, actually, there's an argument that he is driving most of it. it's hard whenever you get into the intricacies of a 3-person line. It's hard to say like, well, this one guy's doing all of it, because it's a combination. It's like the Ryan Johansson, Victor Arvidsson, Phil Forsberg line from a long time ago. They all just contributed, right? But like there really is an argument that Evangelista is doing a lot of this. If you look at the numbers with those two away from like Luke Evangelista, they drop. His numbers are really carrying a lot of it, and I think it's just a matter of he's able to do. He's grown his game. He's been working on skating. He's a little better in that area. I think he's still not like the speed guy that you want, but with the puck, he's smart with the puck, and he knows exactly where players are going to be. He knows how to keep the play going. You saw that on the play he made to Ryan O'Reilly. That shift was just Evangelista to a T. Like he was finding the puck along the wall. He was holding it long enough to get someone open, and then finding them the puck exactly where they needed to be. So that's the first thing. And on the first question about, why would you not put Stamkos with him? I think it just was, they really need, this kind of happened last year where they really wanted to try to have 2 lines, and then they didn't really have any lines at all. So I think it was a matter of they just needed to get some success with it, because I know that Stamkos they've tried a lot with Stamkos, right? I mean, they've tried him with Svechkov, they tried him with Haula, they've tried him now with O'Reilly. Now that they found it, I mean, there's no way they're going to change it until it just stops working entirely. It may actually hurt Forsberg a little bit, because his numbers have dipped a little bit since not being on that line. But, you don't change it now. I mean, Forsberg's going to find his way. He's good enough talent to be able to create goals on his own, no matter what line he's on. So yeah, I think we should strap in for a long stretch of watching this line, work its magic.
All right, so here's the question that I know you have no way of answering, but I'm going to ask it anyway. How sustainable is all this? Because they've won 6 of 8. You look at the standings, and they're only 5 points out of a playoff spot. Now, they're also only 3 points from the bottom of the Western Conference. So everything's kind of jumbled up right now if you're not at the top with Colorado and Dallas and all those guys. But, I mean, look, they are playing better. They are finding results. The offense is coming. Like they look at the moment like the team that maybe they hoped that they could be this year. So how sustainable do you think this is based on what you've seen over the last couple of weeks?
Yeah, I think the biggest question is how long are they going to keep this 11 forward 7D combination going? Because they've done it twice, two games in a row now. It's worked. But that kind of lineup where you take a forward off and you add a D can really tire out your top forwards, right? So because you double shift Forsberg, you double shift Stamkos. In the short run, it works, and sometimes you see teams do it in the playoffs because they know they're going to only play 3 lines anyways. But they got 50 games to go or whatever it is. You can't do 11 forward 7D for 50 games. Someone's gonna get hurt. They're gonna get exhausted, and production's gonna dip. So it is. I think it's sustainable in the sense that I think they found stuff that works, and also they found stuff that other teams now have to prepare for, because that was not the case early in the season. Teams did not worry about anything with the Nashville Predators. They knew they could come in and just beat up a slow team. Now they have to prepare for something that is dangerous, and they can't just roll whoever they want out there. They got to actually think about, how are we going to prepare for that line? It'll be really interesting to see what happens over the late December, early January. They go on a 7-game road trip. So they go to Minnesota, they go to Utah, Vegas, Seattle, Edmonton in there. That is, to me, is like, if they can keep it going through that road trip, that's like the next 12 games or so, then you've got something. Then you've probably built yourself closer to like a wild card spot, and you've probably got a chance to actually, not be irrelevant down the stretch. But that's a long way away. I mean, look, they've won 6 of 8 games, and they're still in 8th place in the Central. I mean, they beat the pants off the Blues last night, and they're still behind the Blues in the standings. So it's like it's not you've got a long way to go. But if they get through that long road trip through the beginning of January, then you've got something.
Okay, well, let's game that out and say that happens, Alex. And I hate to be a negative Nelly here, but I think there's some Preds fans who would say, please don't hang around the fringes of the playoff race and then just, okay, here we go. No, we're not giving anybody up. I mean, how much can this affect how Barry Trotz has been looking at this? Because I mean, based on his comments, I mean, clearly he's been looking at it realistically lately. How much could this change that?
I think the biggest thing is, O'Reilly. They are sitting on a very valuable trade piece with Ryan O'Reilly. They could get a lot for him. If this affects whether or not they trade Ryan O'Reilly, which it probably would, because we just talked about how great that line is. Then yeah, that's another moment where you look at the Barry Trotz resume and think, is he not seeing the forest for the trees? Is he getting blinded by immediate results and not thinking about the future? I mean, not at all dissimilar to the Saros Askarov, fork in the road where he took Saros. I mean, it's not that big of a deal. It's not that bad because you're not signing Ryan O'Reilly to a long-term contract, but could you miss out on a top pick and a top player? The other pieces, what are you really going to miss out on? Like, oh, well, you didn't flip Michael Bunting for a 3rd-round pick, or you didn't deal Eric Holla for a 4th-round pick. Those things I'm less worried about. I mean, I don't think you're going to walk away with too much regret on that. But the O'Reilly one, yeah. I mean, that you could seriously damage the future by holding on to O'Reilly this year. Of course, you could always deal him next year in his contract year, but look, this is just the way sometimes it happens, and you're not gonna get Barry Trotz to trade away key pieces if his team's winning. It's just we know that about him now. He's not going to do that.
Yeah, I mean, still a lot of work to get to that point, but good to see them playing some better hockey, and fun night last night for Steven Stamkos. Alex, awesome stuff, man. Appreciate you taking time to be with us, and we will talk to you soon, my friend.
Yeah, I'm really glad that you got to enjoy that, Robby. I'm really glad that I wasn't there. I wasn't there to see it.
You think they'd put like a projector up outside the arena, not let you in, but you could at least be like on the plaza and watch?
I could just watch it from out there. Yeah, keep out. There's gonna be signs. Don't let this man in the building.
Did you at least nurse your child back to health? She good?
Oh, yeah, she's fine.
Okay,
she's totally fine. She was fine probably by the 2nd period, and I was like, oh, come on, this is crazy.
Oh, to be young and have the immune system. Good stuff.
Yes,
Good
exactly.
Stuff. Thank
All
you,
right.
Alex. Appreciate you, bud. Alex Doherty from the Tennessee and our guest here on the program. We'll have the Rex Rant coming up next. Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game.
Sometimes he wakes up on the wrong side of the bed. And sometimes he's just, well, Joe.
Awkward moment. Let's do it.
This is the Rex Rant, now on Robby and Rexrode.
You like that? You like that?
Oh, yeah. We got 24 beers. I'll drink 22.
You can't stay away from shellfish, meat, and meat.
Maybe someday you could be like me and get gout.
Well, you're going to ask the question or not?
I hate you all, okay? I told Joe Burrow that if I didn't get him to come to LSU, I was going to lose my job.
So I'm the jerk.
Paul, the dyslexic jerk.
We used to go in the back door. Now we go in the front door.
Oh, my God. My ass is burning.
I equally hate you all, okay? I want you to know.
It is time for the Rex Rant with Joe Rexrode. You can check it out every morning here on the program. Joe Rexrode's rant of the day. Allison Stanley with some commentary in the background. Joe Rexrode, the floor is yours.
Hi, Allison. I've heard that I'm her favorite co-host of Robby and Rexrode.
There's no doubt.
Yep. Yeah, get a little bit of a grab bag here. I'm going to get to the Vegas props that absolutely floored me yesterday, and these are real things. But I will give a little. I just sent you guys this. I need to get this off my chest. I sent you guys a screenshot of a Michigan State fan saying very, very nasty things about me and other people.
Very nasty.
So here I'll give you the quick story here. So obviously all the stuff goes down with Shromore in Michigan the other night. And basically my entire career basically up there, it's this whole thing of like the media favors Michigan. The media is out to get Michigan State. There's a section of the fan base that I'm trying to think of, like it might be similar like in Alabama with like Auburn fans and Alabama, right? Like sort of it's the same. I think that's a similar dynamic, that rivalry. So the Detroit News that night, all that news is breaking. It's the biggest story in sports. And that night, the Detroit News publishes a story at 11 p.m. about how, like, basically some experts questioning Michigan State's hire of Pat Fitzgerald because of the hazing scandal and everything, right? So the Michigan State fans are like, oh my, like basically like the Detroit News decided to let's do this story real fast and then put this out there and then people can stop looking at Michigan and their scandal. Now, the reality of it is that was a story. It's a very extensive story. It took like a week to do. They had it scheduled. It was going to run. No one knew the Michigan crap was going to happen. This is the real world explanation. This is sane people understanding what happens in the world. I will agree that someone at the Detroit News needed to say, hey guys, let's go ahead and hold this for a couple days. Because first of all, no one's going to read it. And second of all, like it's kind of toned up, but they ran it. So I've spent the last day with Michigan State fans screaming at me like, clearly this was just a diversionary tactic and it's just crap like that. So again, I hate you all. But no, maybe I love you too. I love you, but I hate you. Yeah, maybe. So I'm going to stop. I'm just muting people now. And that's why I went on a stretch where it's just, I'm just going to mute you. I mean, I just sent you guys some delightful language aimed my way. I just muted him. I said, I get help and you're muted. And that's it. So I'm just going to go back to that. Now, I got to read these props. This is sportsbetting.ag. I get these emails all the time. And it's all kinds of props. And props that you would kind of expect to be prop bets, right? Okay. So let me read a quote. Quote, Antoinette Padilla, that is Diego Pavi's mom, pulled on the heartstrings of many throughout the course of the season, and it feels almost certain she'll grace us with her presence at Saturday's ceremony, end quote. Okay, fine. Okay. Primary color of Diego Pavia's mom top. We got black is minus 150, gold plus 200, all the way down to pink plus 1,000. You also have white, silver, brown, purple in there. Okay. Style of panties Diego Pavia's mom is wearing. I'm not kidding you. This is a prop bet. Granny panties plus 200, thong minus 300. This is a legitimate sports book. I'm not kidding you. What? I'm not kidding you. Will Pavia's mom show cleavage? Yes, plus 100. No, minus 140. What will happen first? Pavia and mom kiss, plus 300. Pavia and mom hold hands, minus 500. How many times will she be shown? These things are fine. The panty thing, I'm like, how could you first, like, are people betting on this? Is this real? It's a real sports, but these actually exist. You can bet on them, but is anybody going to bet on them? Some of these are whatever. Like, how many times will they show her? Okay, I get that. Over under 6.5. Sure. Who will the Heisman Trophy recipient hug first? Dad, mom, brother, that stuff. But I mean, I'm reading this like, dude, you cannot be serious. Plus, is there like, are those the only two options?
Yeah.
Granny panties or thong? And how would you know? How is anybody going to know?
Yeah, how do you win money? That's just first off. Let me just say for the record, if you're betting on who the Heisman Trophy winner is going to hug first, or really anything having to do with any of their family, it may be time to call the hotline. That's just my public message. Call the hotline.
Yeah, but this is like combining two potentially troubled groups together. The gambling fiend and the weirdo.
Yeah, that's not good. That's not a good combo.
I mean, the only thing. Okay.
Are we sure that's real? I cannot.
Yeah, no, it is. This person, Josh Barton, sends me these all the time. It has it. It's sportsbetting.ag/sportsbook. It is a real site that you can actually make these bets. Again, now I will say that as I look at this, the over/under on Pavia's mom being shown 6.5. I think I'll take the over.
Yeah,
I think that one.
It's a long ceremony.
Yeah. Now, obviously, if he wins, you're gonna blow past the over. I mean, it'd be amazing to see him win. I do think it's going to be close. But other than that, yeah, seek help. Seek help for a variety of reasons.
Yes. Teron Davenport, ESPN NFL Nation Titans reporter, will be with us coming up next. We'll see if the Titans can do the unthinkable and capture 2 wins in a row. We'll get into that with TD. Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game.
ESPN's Turon Davenport, Talking Titans, now on Robby and Rexrode on ESPN 102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
It is time to head to our phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Welcome in our man, Turon Davenport, ESPN NFL Nation Titans reporter, presented by Bart Durham Injury Law and fueled by Parman Energy. TD, good morning. How we doing?
Good morning. Good morning. What's going on, fellas?
Not a lot, man. Appreciate you taking time to be with us. TD, I want to start on the Jeffrey Simmons front. You know, he played a great game last week, 10 pressures on the quarterback. He's had a phenomenal year when he's been healthy. Is he an all-pro this year? He plays for the Tennessee Titans, so I know there's not a whole lot of people around the league watching the Tennessee Titans right now. I feel like he probably should be. Will he be an all-pro when this thing is all said and done at the end of this year?
He better be. I don't know that there's an interior defender playing better than him. And you saw the way he dominated that game against the Browns. So I would think so. But here's the thing, right? Above all that, got to shout him out, man. On earlier this week, he had an event at Academy Sports, man. He teamed with the Big Brothers, Big Sisters, and he gave 20 different kids $400 gift cards, man. The kids were in there shopping. So shout out Jeffrey Simmons for that, and it's given him a reason foundation.
So TD, is it as simple as he decided to just that changing his body was, you know, just the way to go? He obviously, when you saw it in camp, like he was slimmer, he was quicker. It's obviously worked well for him. Is it that simple? And is it sustainable, you know, to the point where, or is there more to it in terms of the way he's playing this year compared to the last couple of years where, you know, to me, like he was, pretty clearly not at the same level he was, like, say, in 2021 before some of the injuries hit?
Yeah, I think it does come down to the body transformation and just the way he refined his body to be more muscle, right, and less fat. And it's almost like he increased his quick twitch ability. And I think that's something that's big time, and you see it just as far as him being able to close the deal, because before he would get there, right? But he just wasn't getting there in time. So he would get a hit on the quarterback, and sometimes that would lead to those, you know, roughing the passer calls that he would always get. So I think it does come down to, you know, the body transformation that changed his ability to, you know, get off faster and also turn the corner.
So, TD, we've been all over J.C. Latham the past couple of weeks, and I think it's only fair to credit him last week for the job that he did, specifically with the tackle play and what they were able to do last week against Myles Garrett and the Cleveland Browns. When you combine that with the fact that with how well they ran the ball seemingly out of nowhere, what do you make in terms of kind of taking that next step if you're the Titans? How sustainable is the running the ball in particular? I know San Francisco specifically, you know, their pass rush has not been the same without Nick Bosa being in there, obviously. But Tony Pollard having the game that he had last week, I think I'm still in shock by it 5 days later, just because it came out of nowhere, TD.
Yeah, it did come completely out of nowhere. But this is what happens when you dedicate yourself to the run. Like when you stick to it, and you'll have those stuffs, but then next thing you know, you'll have, you know, it's usually a 10 to 15-yard game, but against the Browns, because everything was clicking, it was 30 and 60-yard touchdowns, you know. So I think that's really what it was, sticking to it. And then it was just a collective effort. Obviously, Tony Pollard, he, you know, had the ability to find the holes and the speed to pull away. But even Corey Levin getting to the second level. You mentioned J.C. Latham. You look at Dan Moore, Zeitler, you know, and obviously Skoronski. Then you mix in the down the field blocker from the receivers and Gunnar Helm getting blocks. It all just kind of fit together, right? Like tumblers in a lock that makes you able to actually unlock the lock and make things happen.
So we talked about it going into last week that, you know, look, it's two totally different situations when you look at the two quarterbacks. I did think that Shedeur Sanders, like, I mean, if anybody thinks he can't play, I think you could watch that game and say, yeah, there's something there for sure. But what about the Cam Ward side of it? Like, first of all, just how do you evaluate like his performance? I know he wasn't like thrilled after the game, but also it's like they just got to 2-11, so it's not like it's time to have a parade anyway. But what did you think? Yeah, what did you think of that? And I guess some of the reaction to his reaction since then?
Yeah, listen, he didn't play well. There's no way you could get around it. He missed some throws that you got to make, and he made some throws that were impressive. But at the same time, they won the game. You have to understand with Cam Ward, he's one of those guys that is looking to, reset the floor. And I think people did react to that. As far as him saying, about the win, maybe he didn't need it. I don't think that was the best thing to say. But when he said that winning masks things, he's 100% right, because if they had lost this game, the talk would be Cam Ward, he had a terrible game and they can't win with him and yada, yada, yada. So he's right on that. And I just think, look, as you mentioned, they're 2-11. Like, there's really not reason to celebrate. I understand wins are hard to come by, and when you get one, you want to, feel good about it, but there's no need to have a parade. Like, they don't give trophies for 2-11 records. So let's, scale it back a little bit.
So TD, I want to get your thoughts. I mean, they're about to go to San Francisco. They're going to see Robert Saleh's defense, and we know Robert Saleh, head coach of the Jets, did not go well for him. But it is the Jets, and typically things don't go well when you're involved with that organization. So, look, I have no idea if Robert Saleh is on their radar of being a head coach. I have no idea if he's going to get hired this cycle or not. But what do you make of Saleh, the job he's done in San Francisco back there as defensive coordinator, and your thoughts on maybe how he could translate to being a head coach second time around after having the New York Jets experience?
Yeah, well, we talked to Nick Wagner, the ESPN NFL Nation 49ers reporter, on Talking with TD, and he was telling me how the offense, like a lot of offensive guys, like George Kittle and some of those guys, McCaffrey, like they're cool with him. So it's interesting. Like, and when I say cool, like they make an effort to go talk to him. They stop by his office, those types of things. So that's something that it's pretty intriguing, right? The defensive coordinator mixing with the offensive guys. We know the head coach, he has to talk to the whole roster. So I think that's something to note. But I mean, you look at the defense, you mentioned Bosa being gone, Fred Warner's out. Like, they have guys missing, and that defense is still playing decent football, and they're still playing with a lot of energy. So I think he's done a good job there. And it's almost like, the defense is going to be solid with him as the DC, and they've been just that this year.
Sticking on the coach thing, TD, we've had a lot of talk today about Mike McCarthy. I get, Connor Orr wrote something about it that I think some people probably ran with a little bit too much, but obviously he's a guy we've been talking about a lot. And some of the talk, I mean, Carsey said this the other day, is he, is he I think Carsey used the word dinosaur, but the idea of the game passing you by, his best, obviously years were a long time ago. Someone brought up, even Tomlin, McCarthy's Super Bowl was a long time ago, but so was Tomlin's, and we've talked some about him. But what do you think about that? Like, just the game passing you by idea for some of these coaches, and is that a concern when you look at some of these guys who have been around who maybe haven't had their best success in a long time?
Yeah, I mean, I get the game passing you by kind of concept, but I mean, if you look at it, football is football, right? So if you use West Coast principles, you're going to have an offense similar to Kyle Shanahan and those guys. Like, it's football is football, essentially. So I don't really buy into too much of the game passing somebody by concept schematically, but I think maybe the ability to relate to players, I think that could be a difference. Whereas, like, you see, things aren't going peachy cream in Pittsburgh, but Mike Tomlin is able to relate to players, and that's something that's always he's going to have it in his pocket. Whereas, I don't know that McCarthy's message will get through to some of the younger guys. So maybe in that aspect, the game might have passed him by, from that perspective.
The TD, it's been, as you are well aware, since 2022 that this team has won 2 games in a row, which is just amazing. I understand that they've got a huge challenge in front of them this week, going on the road to San Francisco, where they're 12.5-point underdogs. What do you make of just that matchup specifically against the San Francisco team that's battled a lot of injuries throughout the year? They've done a really good job of keeping themselves right in the thick of the race in the NFC. How big a challenge is this on Sunday for the Titans?
Oh, I think it's a huge challenge, more for the defense because Christian McCaffrey, he's like the queen on the chessboard. You know, there's so many things you could do with him, and they love to get him matched up and create those mismatches there against linebackers. And that's something to watch. And obviously, you know, George Kittle is who he is, and Jawan Jennings is emerging. So, I mean, there's a lot of things that they do offensively that I think could give the Titans some trouble. But then defensively, I think if the Titans dedicate themselves to running the ball again, I think they could run the ball against San Francisco. So those are some things. But I know one thing, you know, Cam Ward better pack his party favors, you know, but get the little hat, the triangle hat, the cone hat with the little headband, you know, and get the party things. Because if they win, you know, he better come to the press conference with that because, you know, God forbid he not cherish and have a full moment of rejoicing after a back-to-back win.
Maybe cartwheel onto the podium. That'd be good.
Chest bump Koharski, maybe, you know, something like that.
Yeah.
Get people make sure people realize he's super happy. Yeah.
Hey,
right. Are you going to be streaming Grandpa Rivers while in the press box, TD? I mean, I'm so fascinated by this story.
Yeah, man, I tell you what, I know. I was watching Emory Hunt talk about it last night, and they were saying whether or not to take the over/under, and Emory was like, he didn't get off the couch to the over/under on attempts. He was like, he didn't get off the couch and not throw the ball 45 times. I think he might be right, man. That hot tub is going to be calling him afterward, but I think he's going to sling that thing around.
TD, I'm so scared of what's going to happen to him when he gets hit. I really am. Like, I'm terrified for him.
Yeah, God bless him.
Oh, boy. TD, great stuff as always, man. Appreciate you taking time to be with us. Enjoy yourself in San Francisco this weekend, and we will talk to you next week, my man.
All right, for sure. Appreciate it, man. Diego Pavia Heisman. Let's get it, man.
Yes, sir. We'll see.
There you go.
We'll see if it happens. Teron Davenport, presented by Bart Durham Injury Law and fueled by Parman Energy. We'll react to what TD had to say. Take your thoughts on all things Tennessee Titans, 615-737-1025, our phone number. We got Pigskin Pick'em coming up at 8:30. All that ahead. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. I got some tickets to give away to the Liberty Mutual Music City Bowl coming up on December the 30th. Tennessee taking on Illinois. Ian Safar, a brilliant, brilliant man. Caller number 4 is what he's decided. Stamkos, 4 goals last night. So we're doing caller 4, 615-737-1025. Caller 4 will win a pair of tickets to the Liberty Mutual Music City Bowl. Let's welcome in Adam in Portland to the program. Adam, good morning. Thank you for calling in.
Well, I got a Pavia question, but what a game by the Preds last night, man. I still feel like I should hate Bruno, but it was a good game. Hey, let me ask you something. Joe, I'm not sure. Did one of y'all vote for the Heisman or no?
I do vote for the Heisman.
Okay. How many people vote for him? Do you know?
Way too many.
Yeah, I think we just said it the other day. I think it was 9:20. I thought it used to be like 8:35, but I think it's 9 something, low 9s. Yeah, which is way too many.
And
it should just be me. It should just be me, basically.
Yeah,
I love it. I would appreciate it. Where do you
better off?
Where do you project Pavia to fall in the draft, Joe?
I'm sorry. Are we talking Heisman or are we talking draft?
The draft. I'm thinking the draft after the Heisman. I think thought at the end. Sorry, I'm just ripping around to it.
Okay. I think he's got a chance to go even as high as like the 5th, but right now I would probably guess 6th or 7th round.
What if the Titans were to draft him and just push Cam with him? Like, Nashville would love him. I don't think anybody's going to appreciate him as much as Nashville. And you would sell jerseys like crazy, and you need to have something to excite the new stadium. What if you just had him on the bench, pushing Cam? Would you be into it?
7th round pick?
I
sure.
mean, yeah, 7th. If he's 6th or 7th round pick, it doesn't really buy. Like, there are worse ideas. Now, I realize that they've got, a billion positions that they've got to fill. So you could, maybe you find a running back in the 6th round that you really like or something, and that would be a better pick at that point. But if he goes, and I agree with Joe, like I think he's going to go late in the draft. If he goes at that point, I don't necessarily hate that idea.
I mean, look, teams want him in the building. I know that. Teams are going to want Pavia in their building because he's a dog and he's going to set a standard of like intensity, work, whatever, right? So I think it's great to have him. But yeah, like with the Titans, it would have to be, to me, quite late to justify it.
Well, and again, like as a reminder, Brandon Allen is on their football team. They do have a backup quarterback who I continually forget about, which is good. That means the starting quarterback has been healthy all year long. I am interested to see, do they take another younger guy to mold long-term as a backup, right? Like nobody would be under any illusion, at least I don't think, that if they drafted Diego Pavia in like the 7th round, that he'd be coming in challenging Cam Ward at any point for starting reps. I mean, I guess Vanderbilt fans could at some point, but I don't think we would all collectively be under that illusion.
No, I mean, the way it was put to me by a prominent NFL personnel person this season, at a Vanderbilt game was, well, Pavia will go late in the draft. People are going to love him. The question is, do teams see him as a guy who can really be like a reliable developing QB2? Again, we talked about this with Malik Willis, right? And he has gotten there, right? With leaving here and going to the worst coach of all time, according to you, Matt LaFleur.
Yep.
So if teams believe that, yeah, like I don't hate it. I mean, if you think he can be like a reliable QB2 who, if in a pinch, can go out there and operate an NFL offense, great. I mean, I don't know. I think the Senior Bowl is going to be huge for him. We saw this week that he got that invitation. That stuff is that week is huge for him. Just for people to see him with their own eyes trying to make all the throws and do the different things. Because this offense he ran at Vanderbilt is not what he's going to be doing in the NFL. So yeah, like with Cam, it's like, you certainly could always make the case of having more of a veteran caretaker backup, but yeah, like take a flyer and who knows, he may, I mean, the kid is, all he's done in his life is blow people away who had very low expectations for him. And we're talking about him as the best player in college football.
Yeah.
Right. A dude who was a 0-star recruit people thought could be an okay wrestler in college. So like people like that, I don't like putting limits on them.
I mean, think about what that QB room could look like next year and just the personality. Matthew from Jolton pointing it out. I mean, Ward, Pavia, Levis in the same room could be sweet.
Oh my goodness. Just that is like those three out on the town. Holy cow. Just, taking over Broadway, man.
Yeah. Mike says, even as a Tennessee fan, I'd love to have Pavia on my NFL team. He's like the quarterback version of Cam Scattaboo. There we go.
I like that. Lenny says Pavia is the Pat McAfee of quarterbacks. I don't know what that means.
And McAfee, pretty good punter.
Takes his shirt off and yells in unintelligible things. I don't know. Dennis says they're going to want the Pavia family in the seats at the new stadium. Instant party.
Yeah.
Tell
them to ease up out there a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. Just, have fun. You can have fun. Just,
ease up.
Take it easy. Yeah, you're going from I guess at least NFL games kick off basically always at noon. So less tailgating time than like the 3:30 or nighttime Vandy starts.
All I can go is by what the facts are and what the record says, Joe. And I don't know that the brothers in particular need a whole lot of time. I think they're ready to go.
They can get her done. They can get her done. I'm looking forward to the Pavia family taking over Manhattan this week.
Yeah, could be something. Let's quickly go to our phone line. Welcome in Trey to the program. Trey, good morning. Thank you for calling in.
Good morning, guys. How y'all doing?
Good, buddy.
Hey, Trey.
Hey, good. Hey, I want to say, the blasphemy to say that Diego Pavia would go in the 7th round, that's absurdity. If he gets second place votes, or if he don't hit the Heisman and he gets second place, there's no reason he should not go above the 3rd round. There's no reason. You know why? Because number one, he's better than Will Levis. Right now, he's better than Will Levis. Number two, he's better than Malik Willis. And you know how those two turned out. And I can guarantee you that he will be a starting quarterback somewhere in the next 3 years. And I love you guys. Bye.
Thank you, Trey. Appreciate it.
Trey, bringing the takes. Got some takes out here today. Yeah. Hey, look, man. I hope that in a couple of years we are playing that call. Save that call.
Yeah.
I damn well hope he's right. I do. But in all seriousness, the difference between Levis and Pavia. Levis 6'4", cannon arm, right? And also athletic. And Pavia he's small. And look, the NFL has gotten way more. We're seeing way more examples of little guys at quarterback, at least having a chance. Yeah, being even Bryce Young. I mean, everybody's like, "Oh my God, he's a top pick." I mean, he's probably only about 2-3 inches taller than Pavia, but that is still 2-3 inches, And so that's.
Is he?
Well, I think so, but I don't know. I guess we'd have to maybe Bryce Young can show up at the combine. We can have him stand back to back. It's the making all the throws is one of the things. I mean, he has shown incredible touch in the deep ball this year. Like his passing efficiency and just watching him throw the ball, it looks different this year. So I hope he's right, man. But I do think that the draft landing spot will be lower.
Let the record show Diego Pavia is taller than Bryce Young. Bryce Young listed at 5'10". Pavia listed at 6 feet. I would love to get the actual measurement for Pavia at the combine and see how tall he actually is. But he's listed at 6 feet.
Yeah, he's not 6 feet, but that's interesting.
So what he's listed at.
Was Bryce Young listed like at 6'2" at Alabama?
I don't know.
I swear he has been
listed 6 feet at Alabama. Yeah.
So he gets the NFL. They're like, "Yeah, you're 5'10", dude. There's no
short.
reason to lie anymore. You're 5'10".
I mean, can Alabama not operate a tape measure? What's going on around here?
Well, this is what they do. So I will say that. It'll be interesting. So Pavia gets on a roster like Diego Pavia, 5'6".
His hand size is 4.2. It's a wonder he can hold the football.
It's going to be fun, though.
Size.
There we go. It's going to be fun going through this process with him for sure.
We'll have Pigskin Pick'em coming up next. Take your thoughts. 615-737-1025. Our phone number, 615-737-1025. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game.
Now, it's time for Pigskin Pick'em with Robby and Rexrode on ESPN 1025 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
It is time for Pigskin Pick'em here on the program. A standings update in the competition. Ian Safar back in the winning way last week. 4-2 with his lock. He led the way. I went 2-4 with my lock. Rexrode 2-4 with no lock, which brings the overall standings. I'm in first place, 46-44 overall. 7-8 on my locks, 53 points. Ian Safar has re-jumped. Joe Rexrode, re-jumped? Is that a word? We're going to make it a word.
Sure.
Ian, 44-46, 6-9 on his locks, 50 points. Rexrode, 39-51, 9-6 on his locks, 48 points in the competition. We begin.
Freaking Eagles screwed me over, man.
They sure did. They sure did. We begin with the Army-Navy game coming up tomorrow, a classic college football masterpiece. Every year, we all love watching the Army-Navy game. Navy is a 6.5-point favorite in this matchup. Rexrode, give me Navy. I'm taking Navy in the game. I like the midshipmen in this contest, and I love, frankly, the 6.5-point line. I think they're going to win by about a touchdown. So I will take Navy minus the 6.5. Ian Safar, who we got between Army and Navy?
I also am going to take Navy. I haven't seen much of these guys play yet. I saw a little bit of Navy versus, I can't remember who it was, but that quarterback seems pretty fun to watch. So I'll go Navy.
Going with Navy. Joe Rexrode, who we got? Army and Navy.
Yep, Blake Horvath is a heck of a player. They got a really good team. You know, they had big aspirations this year. A little bit disappointing, but it's a better team than Army. You know, my dad would hate this pick, but I'm going Navy.
This may be the first time you've picked Navy.
I think it's sacrilege, but I'm in a competition here, okay?
I had already written you down for Army. I got to change it. All going Navy on the program.
I mean, maybe I should go Army and try to make up some ground, but no, I got to go Navy.
There we go. A Navy sweep here on the picks. The Titans and 49ers. San Francisco, a 12.5-point favorite. Titans have not won back-to-back games since 2022. Ian, you're up first. San Francisco favored by 12.5. Who we got?
Yeah, I don't know. Last time they won, and the next game was a total dud. Kind of backfired on us. So it's going to be hard to pick the Titans to cover back-to-back games without seeing it. I don't know. Long trip out west. San Francisco coming off a bye week. This has a 31-13 kind of game written all over it. I'll take the 49ers to cover.
Ian going 49ers minus the 12.5. Joe Rexrode, who we got?
This is going against my general feeling, but I just have a weird feeling that the Titans are going to show up and be competitive, that they found a little something here with the running game. They can build some momentum of that. Like TD said earlier, that is something that the Niners are much less proficient at, stopping the run. And I think the Titans are going to hang around. I think Jeff Simmons is going to wreck the game a little bit, let them hang around. I don't think they're going to win, but I will take the 12.5 in the Titans.
Give me San Francisco. The Titans are going to have to prove to me that they can put together back-to-back good performances. And I'm not even talking about wins. Put together back-to-back good performances. And then I'll maybe buy it a little bit more moving forward. Until they do that, I'm going to assume that they're not going to. So give me San Francisco minus the 12.5. We move to the individual portion of the program. 4 individual picks this week. Joe Rexrode, your first individual selection.
Okay. I'm going to next Wednesday. The Staff DNA Cure Bowl. I don't know where it is, but it's Old Dominion. It's South Florida. You know, you always have to wonder about opt-outs and things like that. But I think Byron Brown's playing. He's a guy who I think is also going to be of interest to some teams here in the draft process. South Florida is minus 3.5. Give me the Bulls. Make it my lock. I think they're going to win this game by a lot. And I know it's dicey to be locking any kind of bowl game, but I'm going with South Florida.
I think it's almost virtually a home game. I believe it's in Orlando.
There we go. Nice.
Okay.
So there you go.
There you go.
Yeah.
I feel even better. Thank you.
Ian Safar, your first individual selection.
Okay, I'll go ahead and put my lock down. Give me Cowboys minus 6.5 versus the Vikings at home. I think they can win by a touchdown. Cowboys minus 6.5, my lock.
Give me Montana minus 7.5 against South Dakota coming up this weekend. Big fan of Montana. I've watched about 8 snaps of them this year. I'll take Montana minus the 7.5 against South Dakota in my only college football pick of the week. Ian Safar, your second individual selection.
Yeah, I couldn't go college. Like I thought about it. I just looking over them. I couldn't do it. So I'm gonna go back to an over/under. I haven't had great luck with the over/unders this season. Big game in the AFC East. Buffalo versus New England. Cold game. We'll see. I don't know. I'm taking the under 49.5. Buffalo versus New England. Under 49.5.
I mean, given the time of year and the weather at both of those plays, that's a pretty big over/under for Buffalo and New England. I mean, I realize they have two quarterbacks that are very, very good in that game. But going with the under in that game. I will stick with that game. Give me the Buffalo Bills -1.5 on the road, taking the New England Patriots. I will take Buffalo to make things a little bit interesting in the AFC East with a win, and they cover the -1.5. Joe Rexrode, your second individual pick.
I don't know why I keep doing this, and yet I keep doing it. The Bengals, every time I bet, I always go against them. They always make me look stupid. But they're at home. They're +2.5 against the Ravens. I just think the Ravens have to be at desperation point right now, and they have to get them back. I can't imagine the Ravens not winning this football game. They're only -2.5, so give me the Ravens.
I will start us off with our third round. The Packers and the Broncos, big game in the NFL coming up this weekend. The over/under is 42.5. I think both these defenses are really good. I know that the weather is going to be good in Denver. It's going to be like in the 60s. So it's not like it's going to be some, snowy, windy game out there. But I just think both defenses are really good with the Packers and the Broncos. So I'll take the under 42.5 and make it my lock. Ian Safar, your third individual selection.
Guarantee.
Okay, I'm going to go opposite on Joe on this one. Give me the Bengals. Joe pretty much laid it out there. Cincinnati and always kind of, I don't know, giving the Ravens trouble. Cincinnati +2.5 at home versus the Ravens.
There we go. Head to head. I like it. Joe Rexrode, your third individual selection.
That didn't go well last week. Stupid Eagles. Okay, my last one. This one's easy. Lions, Rams. Rams at home, -6. Rams will roll in this game and continue my correct prediction of the Lions not making the playoffs.
There you go. Joe, you actually do have one more. So if you would like to close us off with your final pick.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Raiders, Eagles. For some reason, I'm also betting on the Eagles. Why? I don't know. They're -11.5, which is a big line. But, my God, the Raiders are cheeks. Aren't the Eagles going to get mad at some point and just steamroll someone? This is the week for that. Give me the Eagles -11.5.
You would think. Give me the Indianapolis Colts +13.5 against the Seattle Seahawks. Phillip Rivers comes in there, and he at least lets them hang around. Maybe a late touchdown, Joe, to cover that spread. I'm rooting for it. This is totally with my heart, not with my head. Colts +13.5 against the Seattle Seahawks. Let's see it.
I love it. I hope you're right.
Ian Safar, your final pick.
Okay, I'm going to take Jacksonville -13.5. The Jets are not good. I think Tyrod Taylor and Justin Fields have not practiced this week.
Oh,
so I'll take the Jags -13.5 at home versus the Jets.
Is there any they're going to call Joe Namath come back and play since it's the week of just calling
Pennington, Testaverde? Yep, all of them.
Richard Todd. Anybody remember Richard Todd?
There we go. Nice.
I've dated myself. He played when they had the New York Sack Exchange.
Yeah, exactly.
Mark Gastineau and Joe Klecko, baby.
615-737-1025 is our phone number. One more segment coming up next. We'll wrap up our thoughts on the Titans and the 49ers. Join Chase and Big Joe today from noon to 3 at Duncan, located at 2234 North Mount Juliet Road in Mount Juliet. It's the last day of the drive. Stop by with a stuffed toy and donate it to a child this holiday season. 1025 The Game teamed up with Nashville Children's Alliance to give all these awesome stuffed toys donated by you. Stopping by, you'll be qualified for a 4-pack of tickets in the all-inclusive 501 Club at Bridgestone Arena to a Preds home game. Special thanks to the Metro Nashville Police Department, the Catalano Group, the Bluemont Group, Family Leisure, Thompson Machinery, Richmar Florist, Right Time HVAC, and Reladine for their support in this as well. For more information and a list of Duncan locations that you can donate, visit thegamenashville.com/toy. This is Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. This Sunday, the NFL game of the week, the Vikings and the Cowboys at 7:20 on 102.5 The Game. NFL game of the week presented by Circus Sportsbook Kentucky and Macero in 12 South. Also check out our college football game of the week, Boise State and Washington in the LA Bowl tomorrow night on 94.9 The Fan at 7 o'clock. Coverage presented by Circus Sportsbook Kentucky, and it's also available on the Game Nashville app and at theGameNashville.com as well. Taking your final thoughts on the Titans and the 49ers, a hat trick plus one for Steven Stamkos last night, a 4-goal performance for him. Take your thoughts on all that. Joe, it is going to be interesting. Like, I don't know that very many people expect the Titans to walk into San Francisco and win the game. In San Francisco, Kyle Shanahan has actually done a really good job this year of keeping them afloat and navigating things and having them in the thick of a very competitive playoff race in the NFC with the injuries that he's dealt with so far this year. So it's been a really good job by him. Like I said last segment, I think the Titans, they had a great performance last week against a bad Cleveland team. But to their credit, it's a big-time performance. They showed up. They played well. Now, can you do it again? It's been a long time since they've done it a couple of games in a row. Can you do it again? And even if it doesn't result in a win, can you hang in there on Sunday against San Francisco? If they can, that'll actually show me something a little bit. But again, my expectation that you got to prove it to me before I believe you're going to do that.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know why I'm confident they can. I just, well, maybe it's just because some of what worked last week is what I think this team should be built to do. So again, can they replicate that? I have no idea. As you guys have pointed out, like anytime there's usually a little glimpse of competence, then we see a quick regression. So I do think this is important. And I understand Titans fans still looking at other teams that are in the contention for the number one pick and wouldn't necessarily hate it if the Titans lost this game. But still, if you're watching your team now, don't you want to see whether they have the experience of winning or not, like some improvement, okay, this guy is coming along. And like J.C. Latham, how important are the last few games here to him? Can he string a few together?
Right.
And give you some confidence going the offseason. There's a lot of important individual storylines going on too.
I will say, we've heard from some people that threw out the idea of maybe Jim Schwartz coming in and being the head coach of the Titans. Titans do have an opportunity here, Joe, in back-to-back weeks. People maybe if you're Titans fans like Stefanski, I don't know about that. Jim Schwartz, I don't know about that. They couldn't stop the Titans. What if they just go in there and smash Robert Saleh's defense? We just taking him out of the pool, out of the running?
I mean, hey, man, maybe it's time to start getting serious. I think, I think this is a good topic for Kaharski next week. If they have some success, I think it's time for Kaharski to start warming up to this idea.
Yeah.
Hey, speaking of Kaharski, I do have a quick take I want to throw out here, Robby.
Okay.
This whole plane stuff has become now, it's like an awful announcing.
Pro football talk that
wills off the plane. Let me just say, and again, I made fun of Kaharski for, getting all giddy about it. Let me just say from the Titans perspective, I understand the initial reaction to it. And again, it was a mistake, which has been acknowledged. It wasn't a big deal. And I would hope that if he's going to continue in that role, that the Titans, that's fine. You want to show some accountability and like some people are mad about it and feel like they've been betrayed. Fine. I would hope that this would be a very short-term thing from the Titans perspective. I would hope so. Yeah. I'm watching you, Titans, because in a lot of things that you've done, you as an organization have been, to me, ridiculous. I'm not saying this move is, but I am saying that this should be a short-term thing. So
I hope this is the last time we talk about
the
team playing around this franchise for the next 10 years. I want to put a 10-year moratorium on it.
Oh, just wait until they beat the Niners. The plane from San Francisco. It was a wild scene, folks. There were at least 3 people napping, per Kaharski sources.
Yeah, I didn't even bring that up yesterday. So it's the plane from Green Bay. It's Rand napping on the plane. And now this week. There, by far, there's no doubt now, by far, more conversation around a team playing with this franchise than any other organization I've ever seen.
Right. And I mean, I still have no idea. Like, can we get some information on the food? Like, how's the food?
Yeah.
I mean, if we're going to cover the team playing, the Titans playing as a beat, we need more information. So count on you. But yes, Titans, I think it's fine, but don't be petty and stretch this out. Be professional.
Weston Hermitage says, y'all know I've been all on the trading Stamkos thing for a while. Then I watched last night, and now I'm screaming. He's playing better. Trade him while he's got some worth. Who knows how long this will last. I will say this, Joe, not to toot my own horn, but I will a little bit. I think there were some of you who thought I was kind of nuts when I say, hey, Steven Stamkos can still play. You just might want to find people that get him the puck.
Yeah.
I think last night a pretty good reminder. If you can get him the puck, the guy can score. He scored a lot of goals in his career. He did not forget how.
No, you were making that point pretty emphatically when things were going pretty poorly for him. So, I mean, it is cool to see an all-time great. That's what he is. An all-time great. Remind people that he still got it. I mean, that's pretty cool. I also saw Doherty had this dude who he just tweeted at this guy, like the guy who had like the sign for Evangelista, like ho ho ho, you gotta go go go, or whatever the hell the sign was to Evangelista. Like, what's that guy thinking right now? Evangelista leads the Preds in scoring.
Yeah, he's playing really well. He really is. So
probably good they signed him.
Probably is. Probably is good they signed him, and it's good to see. It was important. He took a step this year, and he's clearly doing that right now. So good stuff on that front. Hope everybody has a wonderful weekend. We'll be back on Monday morning, getting closer to Christmas. So get that shopping done. Next Man Up with Jake Lyman coming up next. You're listening to 102.5 The Game.